Now in this video lesson, I'll tell you the basic concept of economics. Now economics, like any other subject, has its own terms and concepts. So in this chapter, we discuss some elementary concepts which are frequently used in economic analysis. So we will start with consumption. Now see, the commodities are needed to satisfy human wants, right? The commodities are divided into two categories. First, goods, then the second category is services. So goods are tangible or material things such as mobile, television, chocolate, shirt, car. So these all are called tangible goods. Services are non-tangible things such as education, medical, haircut, music, services of a plumber, carpenter and all. Right? So goods and services need to be consumed in order to satisfy human wants. So to satisfy human wants, we consume these goods and services. So the act of using goods and services to satisfy human want, this is called what? Consumption. So consumption is the act of using goods and services to satisfy human wants. Right. So anyone who consumes goods and services to satisfy his or her wants, he is called a consumer. So a consumer is a person who consumes goods and services to satisfy his or her wants. Right. Now let me tell you about sustainable consumption. The sustainable consumption is the consumption of goods and services which meets the need of people and improves quality of life without having any adverse impact over the environment and needs of the future generation. So this we call as what? Sustainable consumption, which fulfill our needs as well as which fulfills the need of the future generation. Now come to significance of consumption. So significance of consumption arises from the following facts. What are those? First, consumption is the primary motive of all economic activities. Right. Then the second, consumption is the end purpose of all economic activities. Right. Like economic activity starts with the act of production of goods and services and ends with the use of these goods and services for consumption. Right. And the third significance of consumption is the index of standard of living. Means the level of consumption of the type of goods consumed determine the standard of living of the people. Then the fourth, consumption is the basis of economic welfare. Right. And fifth, consumption is the major determinant of employment. Means level of consumption tells the level of employment. Higher is the consumption, more will be the level of employment. Right. Now another thing I'll tell you about utility. Now utility refers to the want satisfying power of a commodity. Right. So want satisfying power of a commodity is called utility. Right. Or we can say that utility is the amount of satisfaction derived from a good or services at a particular time. Right. So utility is the amount of satisfaction derived from a good or service at a particular time. Right. Now the features of utility. What are the features of utility? The first feature of utility is subjective. Utility is subjective means it differs from an individual to individual. Right. So it is subjective. Right. It differs from individual to individual. Right. Second, the feature is utility is not measurable. Means since utility is subjective, right? Since it differs from individual to individual, it cannot be measured in absolute terms. It cannot be quantified and cannot be measured by any measuring rod. Quantified means it cannot be expressed in terms of any number. Right. The third feature of utility is relative. Utility is not absolute but relative in view of its subjective nature. It is relative to a person's need. Therefore, it varies from person to person. Right. Then the fourth feature of utility is different from usefulness. Means utility should not be confused with usefulness. The two are different. A commodity may possess utility even though it may not be useful. Like the liquor may have harmful effects, but even then, liquor has utility so long as it satisfies the want of a drinker. Right? So, utility is what? Different than usefulness. So, don't confuse utility with usefulness. Now next is total utility and marginal utility. So I'll start with total utility. The total utility refers to the entire amount of satisfaction obtained from consuming a given quantity of a commodity. Means whatever total utility you get after consuming that commodity, it's called total utility. Right? Or you can say the total utility refers to the total satisfaction from the amount of the commodity consumed. Got it? Whereas marginal utility is the additional utility arising from the consumption of one more unit of a commodity. Right? So the marginal utility is the utility which results from a unit increase in consumption. Got it? So what is marginal utility? Marginal utility is the additional utility arising from the consumption of one more unit of the commodity. Right? Now the next very important topic is diminishing marginal utility. Right? It is generally seen that as the amount consumed of a commodity increases, the utility derived from the additional unit goes on decreasing. Right? That means as we consume more and more of a commodity, right, the utility keeps decreasing. Right? So this tendency of a decrease in the marginal utility with successive increase in consumption of a commodity, this is called what? Law of diminishing marginal utility. So what is law of diminishing marginal utility? The tendency of a decrease in the marginal utility with successive increase in consumption of a commodity. We call it as what? Law of diminishing marginal utility. Now another topic is production. Another term which we'll study here will be production. What do you mean by production? Right? So the act of making goods and services, we call it as what? Production. So what is production? The act of making goods and services. Or we can say production is the process that creates utility in goods. Both ways you can explain what? Production. What? Production, you can say that it is act of making goods and services. Right? Or you can say production is the process that create utility in goods. Now see how the utility is created. Utility can be added to an object in the following ways. Now how utility can be created? First we call it as form utility. Right? So the form utility is one of the ways by which utility can be increased. Right? Like a carpenter makes a table from a piece of wood. Right? by changing the shape of wood. He is making the wood more useful. So he has created what? Utility. He was having a log of wood. He converted it into a chair or a table. Got it? So here this type of utility which we create, we call it as what? Form utility. Then second comes the place utility. Utility can also be increased by transferring goods from one place to another. Like transferring goods from the factory to retail shop creates place utility. Right? Because people will go to retail shop to purchase goods, not to the factory. So such type of utility which you create, that is called place utility. Then another type of utility, that is called time utility. So the time utility is created when goods are made available at the time when they are needed. Right? So when the goods are made available at the time of they are needed. So such type of utility we call as what? Time utility. Then comes the service utility. Service utility results from the provision of personal services by the individual, such as doctor, teachers, engineers, transporters, bankers and all, right? So whatever services they are providing, that comes under what? Service utility. Now next topic we will study here is factor of production. What are factor of production, right? So all productive resources are known as factor of production. What? All productive resources are known as what? Factor of production. Right? So the factor of production are usually classified by economists into four main groups. What are those? Land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. Right? So these are four factor of production. What are those? Land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. Got it? Now we'll start. I'll tell you about each. First let's take about land. Right? So land in economics include all those free gift of nature such as land, forest, mineral, right? All these comes under land. These are commonly called what? Natural resources, right? So all these natural resources which are free gift of nature, these all comes under land. Right? Then comes the labor. So labor is the human effort. Both it can include physical as well as mental, involved in the process of production. Right? So what is labor? Labor is the human effort, both physical and mental, involved in the process of production. Right? So whatever effort we are putting, whether it's mental or whether it's physical, it's called labor. Then the third factor of production is capital. So what is capital? Capital is defined as the man-made or produced means of production consisting of things like machinery, tools, equipments, factory buildings and all, right? So these are used in future production in making other goods and services. So what's capital? I am telling again, capital is defined as the man-made or produced means of production consisting of such things as machinery, tools, equipments and factory buildings which are used in future production. Got it? Or you can say in making other goods and services in future. So this is the third factor of production. Now the fourth, that is very important, that is entrepreneur. So entrepreneur is one who organizes production, right? Or who combines all factor of production together. He combines land, labor and capital together. He takes important decisions regarding production and bear the risk of production. Right? So entrepreneur bears the risk of production. He combines different factor of production, right? So entrepreneur is one who organizes production, takes important decisions, and combines different factor of production together, and he bears the risk of production, right? Now I'll tell you the characteristics of factor of production. So the first characteristic feature of factor of production is the outcome of cooperation among all the factor of production. So the production is the outcome of cooperation among all the factor of production, right? The second characteristic feature is, though all the factors need to be combined in every productive activity, there is no necessity, however, to combine all the factors of production in a fixed way. Like the production of handloom cloth requires a large quantity of labor and simple machines like handloom, while in a modern textile mills, a large quantity of automatic machines but only few workers are required to produce cloth. Got it? Now, next feature is an important characteristics of factor of production is that it is the service of the factor rather than the factor itself that contributes to production, right? Now, next characteristic feature is all the factors of production have a physical existence, right? Means they are tangible resources, right? Means you can touch them. Tangible means which you can see and touch. Now, next characteristic feature is the factor of production is the demand for factor of production is derived demand. So what is the feature? The demand for factor of production is derived demand. Got it? The next feature is all factor of production do not have the same mobility, right? So the mobility refers to the ease with which a factor can move from one place to another. Like there are some fixed factors which cannot move, or you cannot move those factors like building, right? And there are other factors which can move easily like labor. Labor can move from one place to another. Now in the next video lesson, I'll tell you some more elementary concepts which are frequently used in economic analysis. Thank you.